as you think feelingly and imagine, from the moment that you visualize or affirm or script whatever it is that you desire, that's what's going to determine how smooth or rough your bridge of incidents is going to be. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Brendan, and here we teach that what you are thinking feelingly and imagining throughout your day is creating your physical experience. Now today I want to talk about the bridge of incidents, and this is what Neville Goddard referred to as the series of events leading you to the fulfillment of your desire, right? So first you'll imagine, maybe you visualize, affirm, whatever you do to get yourself into the conscious state, right? The attitude of mind made up of a body of beliefs that implies your desire is already fulfilled. So once you do that, that's your beginning of the journey, and then you cross the bridge of incidents, right? That series of events that you experience leading to the fulfillment of your desire, okay? It could be one step, it could be 7 steps, 1,000,000 steps, whatever it takes in order to get you from where you are now to physical reality matching your new state of consciousness. That is one of fulfillment, okay? That is the bridge of incidents. So I just want to share my experience and how this shows that your bridge of incidents is really up to you. So typically everyone tells us not to think about the how, right, when it comes to manifesting our desires. And that's very, very important because, of course, if you're wondering how your desire is going to be fulfilled, then to even ponder that question is to step out of the consciousness of fulfillment, right? If you're thinking about how something is going to happen, you are not in the consciousness that it is already done, which is much more conducive to the manifestation process. So I want to share my experience with this particular bridge of incidents for when I was manifesting a trip to Italy. And the reason I want to share this is because it demonstrates perfectly how your bridge of incidents will be made up exactly according to how you are throughout the process. And what I mean by that is it's going to be as chaotic or as peaceful as you choose to feel throughout the process. Okay, and so that's what I mean when I talk about the how here. I'm not talking about the means through which the desire came. I'm not talking about how I was going to get the tickets or how I was going to get the hotels. I'm talking about the way I felt throughout the process. So the way that you feel throughout your process leading to the fulfillment of your desire, whether it's financial abundance, a trip like I took, a new relationship, anything, a new job, it's not about how it happens, it's about how you are in the process of it becoming true across your bridge of incidents. So I had the desire to go to Italy since probably early this year, 2023. And so I wasn't sure when, but I had been aiming originally for around October, around my birthday. And so what I did at that point was just simple. It was similar to Neville Goddard, I am in Barbados, right? Just a casual affirmation, I am in Italy, okay? Just feeling that I'm there, even watching a television show, similar to what I did when I manifested a trip to Hawaii. I had first been watching a show, and that's when I told myself I am in Hawaii. So very, very similar, just something to catch the vibe, right? Allowing myself to kind of just be open to it. I wasn't really focused on it and making it a big deal. But as I got closer and closer to the date that I wanted to go, I had to get my passport. So first I did that. It was a long process. I was worried at times because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take or if maybe I should have done the expedited process. But as I calmed down, then the passport came. But this is where it gets interesting. This is where you'll start to realize that things really do happen as we choose to feel, okay? So things happen as you choose to feel. So as the dates got closer, I didn't have a ticket yet. I had been looking at the prices and they were pretty good, okay? The prices were pretty good, but for one reason or another, other things come up that need to be paid for. And so I didn't exactly have the funds that I wanted in order to get the ticket a good 2 months in advance or 1 month even in advance, which of course would have made me feel more calm. But as we know, with the power of manifestation, it's not necessary. We don't pick the how. We don't pick the when. So even though in my mind, I would have felt much more at peace if I could have bought the ticket immediately, I had to wait. And it was a wonderful experience because it taught me to feel calm about it and stay in a feeling of it is done despite the physical evidence, that would be the ticket, right, not being there. And so I can't say that it was an easy process. So during that time, I was, up and down. There were times where I felt completely frightened. There were times where I felt like I was unworthy. There were times where I allowed myself to feel like it wasn't going to happen. But always I ended up coming back to, it is done, it is done, it is done. But those times where there was turbulence in my inner state came true as the dates got closer. So I ended up being able to find a great deal. Somehow the tickets were like half off, and so I ended up getting $400, $500 round trip tickets to Italy. I did upgrade the ticket so I could get a free check bag and be able to choose my seat. So it was a little bit more than that, but it was totally worth it. Incredible deal. Okay, so that worked out beautifully. After that, as I get closer to the date of actually going, which ended up being in November instead of October, those reflections ended up coming. Those reflections, the turbulence that I experienced from not trusting the process about getting the tickets came true, because I ended up having some family come visit, and they created a bit of a stressful time for me. But I was able to help them out in such a way that they ended up giving me some spending money for the trip. Now, that's not the only way that spending money could have come to me, okay? Additional abundance, so I could really enjoy myself over there, didn't have to come to me through a stressful family-related experience. It could have come anyway, but I recognized immediately upon reflection that because I had chosen to feel stressed about the ticket, whether it was going to come or not, that's why my family came, and maybe it was a bit more stressful than I was prepared for them to be. It felt a little bit draining of my energy. Not that you have a limit to how much energy you have, but I think all of us can relate to maybe having a family experience that wasn't the smoothest. Nothing bad about them, nothing bad about life in general, but it is a clear reflection that your bridge of incidents is going to be a direct reflection of your inner states along the way. And that's the way you determine your how, okay? You determine your how based on how you feel throughout the process. So are you going to feel relaxed? Are you going to feel calm? Are you going to feel and trust that it is done? Or are you going to bounce back and forth because these physical experiences maybe aren't reflecting an easy path, okay? Maybe it's not reflecting a direct path to what you want, like what would make you feel most comfortable. So are you influenced by the 3D? Or can you be indifferent to it in favor of the best, most ideal inner state? Now, if you follow me, a lot of you probably also follow Joseph Rodriguez. He's absolutely wonderful. Check him out. I'll leave a link in my description. So he mentioned the first class journey to our destination, right? So the first class bridge of incidents, which is actually inspired by Neville's Barbados story, where Neville's teacher Abdullah told him, you aren't going to Barbados, you went to Barbados, and you went first class. Okay, so that was really the state of mind, right? You can have a first class state of mind all along the way to the fulfillment of your desire. The question is if you can really honor that. Are you really trusting in God? Are you really trusting in yourself, which is God? Infinite intelligence, okay? So maybe our conscious mind that we seem to be focused into right now in this physical experience, maybe that part of ourselves can't consciously know how things are going to work out ideally. But by experiencing trust, knowing that you are not separate from infinite intelligence, right? If anything could figure out any situation, it would be infinite intelligence, right? There's no lack of knowing, and it knows everything, because everything is connected, all is one. So allow yourself to have that trust, and allow yourself to have a first-class journey to your destination via the bridge of incidents. Don't be like me, okay? It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was nice that, being able to help family out got me some extra spending money, so maybe I could see a few more museums and some amazing things, eat some better food. Wonderful. But it didn't have to come that way, and it didn't have to be that way. I could have gotten money a million other ways, and I could have had a stress-free trip with my family. Not that they were stressed or anything, but it was my own feeling, probably feeling nervous about the trip coming up as well. But it's also just knowing, right? Being able to recognize that we create each and every instance in our lives. So feeling that stress, it was a direct reflection of the stress I was feeling when I wasn't trusting the process about when I would get the ticket or the finances for the ticket. But in truth, there's no use to going back and forth between trust and untrust, between knowing it is done and doubting, because once you've imagined something, it's set in stone. The only way to undo it is to imagine something else with a greater sense of acceptance or belief in it, okay? So that is why it is the dominant state of mind that will win in any situation. So if you're trying to change a belief, like, can you believe that you can manifest physical changes, right? You can grow taller at the age of 47. If your belief is so deeply entrenched in the world that you think, I have no proof, this and that, all of these things that most people would think, and that's your dominant thought over all things are possible to God, and I and my Father are one, meaning you are God, then that's what's going to win. And so you won't be able to make that change. But if you can make your dominant feeling that you are the one who can overcome the world, you are literally everything, everyone, everywhere, this entire physical experience is already dead. It is a shadow. It is nothing, right? It's like if you watch The Matrix and the little child is bending a spoon in his hand using his mind, and what the child says is, there is no spoon, right? There is no 3D. It's the same exact way. So there is no 3D. There is no physical body with these limitations, with this science, with these growth plates, with this whatever it is that's stopping you from having the dominant belief that all things are possible to you. Okay? And so you could apply that to anything. You want your dream house? There is no house. There is no house. It's just a belief. It's all in your mind. So are you going to allow your mind to hallucinate that you do have what you want or that you don't have what you want? It's up to you. It's just a difference of which is going to make you feel good. And it's your choice all the time. It's never going away. Every aspect of your life, you have the opportunity in every instance to feel how you want to feel or to let yourself feel based on the influence of the world around you, based on a reaction from your former experience, which you could always revise, right? Maybe you're in a situation where something seemingly negative happened in your world and you think it's a repetition of something that always happens. And so you have the reaction. Stuff like this always happens to me. And therefore that reaction is reinforcing the belief that negative things are always happening to you. But you can flip that. Anytime, anywhere, you have the freedom to choose to go beyond such a perspective, which is so limiting and will perpetuate such things. You can change that. And I said this in a fairly recent video, but I love the simple, non-specific affirmation of Abraham Hicks. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. And even if that hasn't been true, open up your mind to the possibility of what life could be like if everything were always working out for you. And by doing that, getting into the feeling, getting a little bit into the state, you can make it a habit and let that become your dominant state over any and all former programming, okay? All the former ideas of what was. If you need to, practice Neville's art of revision, okay? Maybe you have some experiences or instances in your past which are holding you in a negative state with negative beliefs and perspectives on this physical world. But you can go back and revise them because all time is now. I can ask you this question. I mentioned this in my book, Doing God's Work. What is there other than this present moment right now? You may speak of the past and you think because you have memory of it that it is real, but it is just imagined. The past and the future are just imagined, okay? So you're able to reimagine the past the same way you reimagine the future when you visualize, okay? You're tapping into a future event, a future possibility, really, because there are infinite possibilities. So you're really, when you're visualizing the future, you are selecting your future. You are selecting out of the myriad, the infinite possibilities, which future you desire. And by feeling into it, that is how you move, all right? Your consciousness moves by your feeling. And you can also move your consciousness into a new version of the present moment by reimagining what appears to be the past, okay? And by really reaching a point where you can forget about what was done. If someone did you wrong, maybe your parents gave you trauma, or you had some sort of negative experience at work, no matter what it is, reimagine it to the point where you believe it so deeply that you can actually forget it. that you can actually forget it. So many people in this world say that they forgive people for what they've done, or they forgive different experiences for one reason or another. But if you can't forget it, if you still see that person and you think about what they did to you each and every time, you have not truly forgiven. Because to forgive is to give for, all right? So where maybe they lacked compassion, maybe they lacked evident love for you, whatever it is that happened in that situation, if you can't give for that experience, right? If you can't give yourself the desired feeling that you would have liked to happen and experience in that moment, then you won't be able to forget it, and it's not true forgiveness. So you can do the same with other people, you can do the same with yourself, you can do the same with anything, because everything is imagined. This entire experience is mental. That's why people talk about the chances that we're living in a simulation. We are, but a simulation of what? They never answer that question. So they theorize that it's some alien civilization, or it's us from the future experiencing things like a video game. In a way, but what we're actually in a simulation of is a exact replica, a perfect reflection of our inner imagining, of our inner activity, our mental activity, right? What are you thinking, feelingly, and imagining throughout your day? That's what you're experiencing in the simulation of life. Okay? And as you think, feelingly, and imagine, from the moment that you visualize or affirm or script whatever it is that you desire, that's what's going to determine how smooth or rough your bridge of incidents is going to be. Okay? Is it going to be a beautiful bridge like the Golden Gate Bridge and you drive across it, or it's first class and you're flying and it's smooth, no turbulence? Or is it going to be like you're walking across a bridge in a movie like Jumanji, right? Where it's like old and rickety and, the pieces of wood are breaking as you're stepping on them. You have the choice, all right? So we don't get to choose how, meaning by what physical means our desire is fulfilled, but we do get to choose how our experience is and how we will be on our path to fulfillment, okay? And so I want you to keep that in mind, because it's not like a threat. It's not like stay in a first class state of mind, otherwise it's going to be a pain in the ass to get what you want. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be aware that you do have that control. And as you allow yourself to enjoy this present moment as much as you possibly can, the more joy you will get out of your bridge of incidents, okay? We're always told, right? All spiritual teachers are encouraging us to be in the present moment, to enjoy the present moment, all right? To enjoy the journey and not just be destination focused. That's actually one of the things that got me into spirituality. It was a quote by Alan Watts. He was talking about how life is like a song. You don't play a song to get to the end, okay? You play it to enjoy it. That's what life is. But instead, we've been trained to come up with these goals and these aspirations, and we choose to hold off on feeling good or feeling joyful or feeling fulfilled until we see them physically. But the problem with that is, if we don't know how to enjoy ourselves now, we're not going to enjoy ourselves when we get where we think we want to be so badly. That's why there are these people that say, I want to make $10,000 a month. And, they work their ass off and they do it the hard way. They do it the logical way of the world. And then they haven't been happy the whole way until fulfillment. And when they get it, okay, now I need to make 20. And they set up another goalpost saying, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be happy. Always putting off happiness, always putting off fulfillment. And so that's why there's people who could make $1,000 a month or $1 a month. And they're way, way happier because they know how to enjoy the moment. And that happiness is determining how your entire life is going to be. The more you can enjoy this present moment, the better everything is going to get, okay? Don't make your life a series of goals that you set up and then delay your joy until you reach them. And then you do it again and again. And next thing you know, you're old and it's over, okay? You should enjoy yourself now. There's plenty to enjoy. There's plenty to be thankful for. There's plenty to be happy about and joyful about, even if it's only an imagination at this moment. Because this world is nothing other than a reflection of imagination. And if you truly know that imagining creates reality, then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to feel like you're crazy or delusional. You know that imagination is the reality, okay? Imagination is the Christ, the God of Scripture, all right? And I don't need you to be religious to understand this. Just try it for yourself. Just try it. Imagine that what you desire is already yours and remain faithful to it afterwards. By whenever you think about it, whenever your mind wants to say, how's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? If it's going to happen, you say, it is done. And find a way to enjoy yourself in the present moment. Do that again and again and again, and you will get it. And then choose something else and do it again. That way you not only get those things that are your goals or your desires, but you can enjoy yourself fully all along the way, and therefore have a bridge of incidence that is first class in every way. Okay? In first class, everything's taken care of. They bring you food, you get free drinks. All right? You can choose how your desire is fulfilled. So do you want it first class? Or do you want it to be filled with fear or stress? Okay? It's up to you. Learn from my experience. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I'm happy I got what I got. I'm happy to see family, but it could have been less stressful. All right? So that's why I wanted to share this example with you and also dig into what exactly the bridge of incidence is when it comes to manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption. So I'm sure you found this helpful. If you're interested, you can check the description or see the pinned comment for the link to my website to see what I have to offer. As always, thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Take care.